thank you so much for the invitation to speak to you today, and thank you for the very interesting speeches that already been given here today. Very good to hear, and I think we are in the same line there on what we present. So maybe it's kind of like a sum up today. So Biotech North is a knowledge-based industry cluster located in Tromsø in Norway, and serves the biotechnology and biomarine sectors in the entire northern portion of the country. But we also have members more south in the country, and also now our first member abroad, more exactly in Denmark. So the cluster shall increase the commercialization of high value products from residual raw materials, from new marine resources, and what we can find through marine bioprospecting. And the cluster shall increase the company's innovation and competitiveness. The cluster in this format that we have today is one back. It started around about 10 years ago. And much of the reason was the strong academic environment that was in Tromsø with the university and the research institutes like Nofima and North. And many of our companies in the cluster are results of research from these institutions. But also important, not so fast. But also one important reason to start this cluster was that utilizing our marine resources has, of course, been important for Norway. And one also saw the potential of utilizing these 100% and with new applications. And Norway has had a national cluster program for many years, and through this strengthened the environments that have a particular great potential to assert themselves nationally and internationally. And marine biotechnology, as Runa mentioned, was and is such an area. And but Biotech North is no longer part of that national cluster program, but has received support from the policy instruments in the region, combined with funds from projects and services that we are developing in the cluster. And here you can see on the map Tromsø, and yeah, why I call it the hotspot for Blue Biotech, such far up north. Is there any people up here? And it is. And today the sun will also return, so we will get some more blue sky with the sun. But of course, it's not only because of the university and the research institutions that we are hotspots for Blue Biotech and why we have focused on the marine biotechnology, but also because in Northern Norway lies one of the most rich and biologically diverse natural environments in the world. And many of our organisms in this area have had to adapt their bodies over time to be able to survive in this harsh environment, leading to the development of cold adapted properties that can be used as basis for products and processes within various marine health industries. And along our coast, we have good access to residual raw materials from fishing and aquaculture, solid research and resource management. And we invest a lot in Norway in our research cruises that maps our sea areas. And combined with all this, it's just a huge treasure chest where we can find new bioactive compounds from the marine environment. Next slide, please. And here you can see the members of our clusters. You will recognize Nofima, and maybe you will recognize some other logos, but I guess most of them are not familiar to you. But what it also shows is the 5-point cluster model that we use. So we have startups and established businesses on the top, and we combine them with research institutes, governmental actors, and funding partners. And our members represent industry within pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, food and feed ingredients, cosmetics, medical devices, and diagnostic tools, partners from aquaculture and fisheries, algae, and universities and institutes for applied research, investors, and local and regional governmental actors. And what we want to achieve is that we want them to work together. And when we ask our members why they want to be part of the cluster, it's about networking. It's about being part of the possibility to develop innovation projects together. And to do that, you need to build trust. You need to know each other. And that's what this platform of a cluster can contribute to. We can also share resources and costs, especially for startups and SMBs. For example, we have a shared sales resource for the Asian markets, for companies working together with one salesperson. It is possible when you have the trust between companies. And we, of course, can offer courses and help with skills development. And we are a link between academia and the industry. And also we make the biotech environment in Northern Norway visible both nationally but also internationally. Next slide, please. In this picture, it's what Biotech North is focusing on in a nutshell. On the left side, we have the resources, but also the knowledge of biotech. And we want to move to the right, but much faster and with greater success rate than what we do today. So the cluster is not volume orientated when we talk about using the rest raw materials, for example, but value orientated. We want more focus on the development and commercialization of high value marine health products and also solutions for other industry with the biotech knowledge. But if you want to succeed, we have to strengthen the bridge between academia and the industry. The results from the science must be invested in and test the commercial potential so that we can create new solutions and products. And we have to develop a marine health industry, or to develop a marine health industry, we need more market insights, more verification and infrastructure for piloting, and we have to ensure that the value chain is functional and complete at all times. We have to increase the access to risk capital for development and scaling the industry. In general, the commercialization of marine health products is far up in the value triangle, characterized by long-term commitment, interdisciplinarity, high capital intensity, and also high risk. And we have to support commercialization of high-end marine products by shortening the product development cycle and reducing the cost. And we must ensure good conditions for entrepreneurs. We need more people and young people who want to commercialize research and create their own workplace and products that the world needs. And if we succeed in this, we can create even more good examples, like I will show you now. So next slide. So I will talk a little bit about Arctic Science, which you can see some of the products on down to the left. Arctic Science technology is really a star in our hotspot for Blue Biotech. It's a biotech company in Tromsø that develops and produces and sells enzymes. They have already found an enzyme from cod liver that is now used worldwide in the COVID-19 tests, where it reduces the risk of false positive tests. Little did they know that the world was going to be affected by this pandemic, but what they did know when they started out in the 80s was that organisms that live in our cold ocean have different properties than those that live in warm ocean. So the cold is our advantage, but we just have to use it to even a greater extent. The company has currently around 50 employees, mainly located in Tromsø, but also in Europe and US and Asia. Next slide, please. Then I will talk about Marilis, also a cluster member, who is the world's first natural product with an effect on blood pressure. The parent company, Stella Polaris, was already established as an innovative shrimp producer with high focus on the utilization of the raw material. And when researchers at Nofima found that the peptides in the shrimp shell could influence blood pressure, the company had both raw material and a willingness to invest. And after years of further research and development, they launched Precardix. The supplement has been clinical tested and is approved by Health Canada and FDA in the US. They are now launching the product in about 1,000 pharmacies in Canada and more to come. And the active ingredient in Precardix is extracted from the raw material before the residues are again turned into a shrimp powder, which is sold as a flavor enhancer and feed ingredient. So with this, Marilis managed to both utilize and reuse the entire shrimp. Next slide, please. So the last example will be Sota, or previously known as the Colonist, which is the first in the world to harvest and produce the marine copepod Colonist fimarchicus, or rauåte as we call it in Norwegian, to develop a new and highly bioactive form of omega-3 oil and a feed ingredient. The company investigated the properties of the zooplankton and ended up with several groundbreaking products for both human and animals. And through clinical studies, the Colonist oil shows a positive effect on both body composition, muscle mass, and heart function. And the chemical composition of this oil is one of a kind, and the product will fall into an exclusive category in the health food segment. The protein that remains after the oil is extracted becomes a hydrolysate, which is used for aquaculture feed. And the company harvests only a microscopic part of the largest biomass in the entire North Atlantic. Next slide, please. So for both Suka, for Marilis, and many of our other companies in the cluster that utilize marine raw materials, Biotech, I don't think Runa mentioned this, but it's under the organization of Nofima. It's a pilot plant, and it has been absolutely crucial in the phase of going from research to scaling and commercialization. And having access to both infrastructure and excellent researchers is a very good combination. So we are very happy to have Biotech in Tromsø and close to our cluster. Next slide, please. So cooperation is also important. There are many clusters in Norway. Biotech North is a fairly specialized cluster. We depend on a complete value chain from fishing, cultivation, farming, but we focus on the use of the raw material. And we are a very small cluster compared to others. So for us, it's important to collaborate with other clusters to reach like critical mass on services and courses, etc. But even though we are a blue cluster, it's important for us to think across sectors. So biotech is our tool, and we are of course also open to discuss collaboration with clusters in other countries too. And I think you can skip the next slide so we get to the next. I'll just sum up quickly here. So is there an easy path from going from research to commercialization? It's no, absolutely not, as previous speakers have very good pointed out. Can we manage to get more results from research commercialized? Yes, absolutely. But it will require far greater effort than we are putting down today. As soon as the researchers have their results ready, too much market clarification is left on the companies to unleash the possible market potential. There is far too little research done on the market potential. We need more projects like Blue CC, as Runa talked about. And the value chain require a completely different competence than what is required to export, for example, a container of salmon. There are also other demanding regulatory obstacles along the way that require a high level of expertise and that are crucial for products to reach the market. So, but we sit on a solution in our ocean that we can provide so much more than just food. But we need to just stop pointing at the gold in the ocean. It creates no jobs or essential health products that the world needs. We must provide entrepreneurs with tools and support so we can create new jobs and export along our coast. And we believe that the cluster is an important piece of that puzzle to make this happen. So thank you for the attention and looking forward to the discussion.